how it all works, buying real estate in New Zealand. Hi there, Tracie Griffin here with a brief introduction to how real estate transactions work here in New Zealand. The very first step to purchasing a home is talking to a mortgage broker. A broker is someone who can help you secure your finance, and they're paid by the bank, so normally there's no cost to you. You can go directly to a bank to apply for a loan. However, you'll only get the one offer. You won't have a particularly better experience, and you will very rarely get a better rate. So a broker's job is to collect your financial information and present you in a positive light to various lenders. You'll be after a lender that will see you as a terrific partner in your purchase. And lenders consider the amount of money that you have, your ability to repay the loan, and your character, as well as your credit history. Your broker will be able to tell you if you're likely to get the loan and how much you can borrow. So it's very important that you put some money aside for the associated costs with purchasing that can't be included in your lending assessment. I explain potential costs and the 4 steps to finance in another video. So New Zealand has various organizations that govern the process of transacting property. The Department of Internal Affairs, DIA for short, govern lawyers' activities around anti-money laundering, AML for short. So you'll need to engage a lawyer to complete AML prior to purchasing. If your lawyer is ever audited by the DIA, they need to prove that you are who you say you are, you live where you say you live, and that you earn your money the way you say you earn your money. And that goes for everyone involved in the purchase. It is not lawful for lawyers to act on your behalf prior to satisfying their AML requirements. So lawyers are also governed by the New Zealand Law Society, and as such, your lawyer will need to provide you with a letter of engagement detailing their costs, terms, and what they will do for you in the transaction. So the governing body for transferring property is Land Information New Zealand, LINZ for short. They are the keepers of all the titles in New Zealand, and every inch of land has a title associated with it, and on the title it tells us who owns what. LINZ is also responsible for OIA, which is the Overseas Investment Act. You'll need to prove to your lawyer that you have a right to buy in New Zealand. And this is related to your immigration status. Even if you were born in New Zealand, you still need to prove it. So another organization that you'll come across is the Real Estate Authority, REA for short. They are responsible for governing real estate agents. And I've met hundreds of real estate agents, and for the most part, they're awesome. They work very hard for their commission, which is paid by their client, the vendor, but only if the property sells. So they're always keen to get purchasers into contracts. A vendor is just someone selling their property. So agents work primarily for vendors, but they do have obligations to purchasers as well. In my opinion, there are 2 major problems between purchasers and agents. And the first is that buyers don't always trust agents. They often think that they're being tricked into paying more, and so they avoid sharing critical information about their finances. The second issue is that agents avoid asking invasive questions about purchasers' finances. So this is a recipe for disaster. Your agent will need to know what financial protections to put into your contract. So if you don't feel 100% comfortable telling your agent your financial situation, then don't sign anything. Talk to your lawyer first. Yes, this will usually incur a fee, but would you rather gamble your entire deposit by signing something that does not suit your situation and may not protect your money? So call before you sign. All property transactions have real financial risks for both vendors and purchasers. So the Real Estate Institute of New Zealand has written a sale and purchase agreement, currently at version 10. It has both built-in protections as well as opportunities to add further protections if either side requires them. So when purchasers make an offer to a vendor, they're allowed to ask for extra time in the contract to make sure that they can actually buy the house. However, once the vendor signs the offer, you are now legally obligated to buy the house and pay the deposit, unless something very specific that is included in your contract occurs. These are called conditions of purchase, and they're the only way to get out of purchasing the property and avoid forfeiting your deposit. So you can't just change your mind after entering into a conditional contract. So I strongly suggest having your lawyer read the agreement before you sign it. Having the right conditions in place is how you avoid losing your deposit. Some examples of conditions are finance, building report, limb report, insurance, title requisition period, and if it's a new build, there are a stack of conditions that you'll want to make sure are in the right place. So please never sign an agreement to purchase a new build before reviewing it with your lawyer. If the property does not yet have its own title and the council has not yet issued a CCC, a Code of Compliance certificate, then you desperately need special conditions in place to protect your deposit. I cannot tell you how many times I have seen first home buyers sign atrocious contracts with the nicest builders. I've seen fine print that will virtually guarantee no matter what happens, they may never see their deposit again. How is this possible, you ask? Well, I don't know. But what I do know is that it's you that will suffer the consequences if you sign any agreement. So check with your lawyer before you sign anything. I will also explain conditions in another video. Now, property transactions can be very expensive. Your lender may require you to pay for a registered valuation, a building report, chemical testing, special body corporate reports, a limb report, and more. And these can add up to thousands of dollars. This is cash that you need to have put aside and cannot be counted as part of your cash contribution towards the house. You will also need to pay for insurance, your lawyer's invoice, and sometimes a portion of the rates before settlement. So a sale and purchase agreement becomes a contract once both parties have signed it. This contract will stipulate what you, the purchaser, need to do to satisfy your conditions and the deadline to do so. Failure to act on a condition can be deemed as waiving that condition, and you'll need to be able to prove to the other side that you acted on the conditions as well. You risk losing your deposit, getting fined, and possibly even being sued if you don't do exactly what you agreed to do in the contract. You need to know your conditions and when they are due. Your lawyer should summarize these for you and help you along the way. For now, let's assume that you have secured finance in the form of final unconditional approval in writing from your bank, and you've confirmed with an insurance company that you'll be able to get insurance on the property and that you're happy with the title, the building report, the limb report, and every other condition that you had in the contract. You can then instruct your lawyer before the deadline to confirm with the other side that all your conditions have been met and that you will now begin preparing for settlement. So this is called going unconditional. Once you have declared your contract unconditional, you'll have to pay your deposit to whomever has been indicated on the front page. This is usually the vendor's real estate agency. And once the deposit has been paid, you'll need to go ahead and activate your insurance policy. Tell them to begin coverage on the settlement date. This part is critical because you'll need to send their certificate of currency, also called an insurance certificate, to your lawyer and your lender before your final meeting. This is a requirement of all mortgages. So the real estate agency will transfer the balance of your deposit into your lawyer's trust account after 10 working days. From here, you just need to wait until your lawyer sends you a copy of your loan documents to double check them for accuracy. You need to make sure that the amount, the rate, the term, and the dates are all correct and that they match what your lender offered. If there are any mistakes on the loan documents, the process to fix them takes a long time. So let your lawyer know immediately if something is wrong. If everything is correct, you can go ahead and book your final meeting with your acting lawyer. This final appointment is an arduous one. It can take anywhere between 30 and 90 minutes depending on your loan documents and the complexity of the transaction. You'll need to be rested, alert, and prepared. You'll be signing loan documents, land transfer tax statements, and an authority and instruction from LINS, which allows your lawyer to put the property into your name and register a mortgage against the property. So please note that both LINS and your bank require that anyone signing to provide valid ID at this time. Your lawyer cannot use previously certified ID for this appointment. So somewhere between when you declared the contract unconditional and settlement day, your lawyer will receive a settlement statement from the vendor's lawyer, and that will allow them to provide you with a very important document called an indicative statement. This will show you all the financials for the entire property transaction. It'll show you the cost of the house, less the deposit already paid. It'll show you your lawyer's invoice and the council rates that will take you from settlement to the next term due date, if there is any. Now, your portion of the rates can range anywhere from $8 to $400 or more, depending on the number of days between settlement and the next quarter. So the indicative statement will tell you exactly how much money you need to transfer into your lawyer's trust account, if anything at all. So just for clarification, you don't pay the separate invoice, which is usually attached in the same email. You only pay what the statement tells you to pay, if anything. So after you've signed all the necessary documents, your lawyer will send everything to the bank and wait for the money to arrive on settlement day. So make sure that you book an appointment with your real estate agent to do a pre-settlement inspection of the property at least 2 days prior to settlement. So make sure everything is in good working order and take photos if there are any issues. You must tell your lawyer immediately in writing and be specific if you have any concerns. You can't make demands within 24 hours of settlement, so be quick. Your lawyer and possibly your agent may need to do some negotiating to sort things out. And if there are no issues at all, tell your lawyer that you're happy with the inspection and ready to settle. So sometime on settlement day, your lawyer will receive the loan funds from their trust account into their trust account, and the vendor's lawyer will send undertakings or legal promises to your lawyer. They must undertake to discharge their client's mortgage and release the property before your lawyer can send them your money. So this takes time because the vendor's lawyer must wait for their client's lender to send them their final discharge figures, allowing them to crunch the numbers before they make any promises to hand over the property. So all conveyancing transactions are complicated, with both sides doing their part at the relevant time throughout the day. Once the funds have been paid, both sides meet in Land Online, and one side submits and the other side releases. Then hopefully, sometime before 4 p.m., your property should settle. Your real estate agent will release the keys to you. Once they've received instruction from the vendor's lawyer, you can start moving in. You'll receive a copy of the new title showing your name on it via email as soon as LINS issues it to your lawyer. Sometimes this can take days, but usually it's the next business day. Be sure to follow up if you don't receive it. So what you need to know is that there's no easy transactions. There are dozens of moving parts and issues always come up. So choose an experienced conveyancing lawyer to help you stay out of trouble. I hope this has helped you with the big picture. So please watch my other videos for more details on specific subjects, and thanks for watching.